Afternoon, and welcome to the second half of the semester. Before we start on our new unit, I want to just say how exciting it is to look at the work that you've done. This first half of writing process, going from personal essays and paraphrasing summaries, it's been such a great advance. And I'm pretty excited that you're going to do the same thing with the second half of the semester. And it's going to be actually fun. So we have been looking at writing process and the content that you do and how to enrich it. What we're going to do with genre is look at why you write it and who you write it to and the purpose of it. So I invite anyone, can we define genre? Would somebody define genre as you know it for me? Cole?
Types of movies.
Movies are a really great way of looking at genre, absolutely. There's all different kinds. How about anything else? Kind of our class?
Books, fiction,
Yeah, books, fiction, literature.
Yeah.
And there's actually one more that comes off of these two. Does anybody else know what it is?
Letter?
Music.
Music.
Music. But for this class, film and music are awesome, but it's a whole different class. What we're going to do today is look at literature. So we said it was different types and different forms, right? Well, one of the definitions that we have is that you can say different forms of written content. And so the forms and the content are really important. And there's another piece. Do you know what the other piece of the definition could be with these different forms in literature and in writing?
Style. Different style.
Styles is part of what makes up them.
Vocabulary?
What else? Different styles and voices, yeah.
Vocabulary?
Vocabulary, I think that would come into the voice and style, absolutely, yeah. Thank you. Anything else that's missing? There's actually two that we can come back to, but one is really important. That audiences recognize. I'm pretty sure that when you read certain things or write certain things, you recognize where it's coming from. The thing that's really interesting about genres in literature is that they started out in ancient Greece and there were only three kinds. There were prose, there was poetry, and there was drama. And what do you think we have today?
Comedy.
Yeah.
Comedy.
Can anyone define subgenres? We know what a genre is, subgenre. What do you think that is? I'm sorry?
Types of types.
Yeah, types of types.
So
I like it.
Like
You got-
scary movie has slasher,
Thriller.
monster.
Exactly. That's exactly. You're a film dude. But in literature, absolutely. You start with prose and your big picture, and then you move into fiction, nonfiction, and then you start to move even further down to your fantasy and your slasher and your romance. So, interestingly enough, today we define it slightly differently. This morning I got up, and what I did is I got on the M train and I got my New York Times online and I read that. I read a couple emails and then I did a couple texts. Do you think we count those as genres? Tell me some of the things that you have read or written in the last week. Could you tell me anything that you've read or written?
I mean,
Yeah.
and then story.
Yeah. And was it fiction, nonfiction?
Yeah, movies.
Oh, okay.
Going the people.
Yeah, okay. Anybody else? Anybody text? Oh,
I wrote a response.
yeah, okay. What genre do you think that might be? Yeah.
Nonfiction.
Was it here on campus?
It was on the computer.
Okay. We're not writing to the computer, your audience.
I learned post.
Yeah. Well, what I'm getting at is that today we define genre as pretty much any kind of writing. And it's considered social action in language. It's what people have to do. Asushi may be making a grocery list. That would count as a genre because it's moving towards some kind of an action. okay? The way to look at it is that everybody has a glass, right? Or you could think of a form that you're making, say for a cement wall or something. But you have this form, and what you're doing is you're pouring your writing into it. And it's what you pour into the glass that comes through the form and the content, something that creates the genre that you would recognize. So what I'd like everybody to do is please pair off. I'm going to take about 3 minutes, and I'd like you to do 2 things. First thing is talk to each other. Like, this is what I read, this is what I write. I mean, what genre do you think it is? And just talk a little bit, and then I would like you to make a list of either your top 5 favorite genres or just things you do a lot. And we're not going to talk about it till end of class, but it's going to be part of your homework as we move forward. So, discuss. All time.
I read Facebook post. You read research paper.
Research paper.
Federal research
Journal.
paper. I read research
No,
paper.
it's like something that we read.
For school.
Fiction.
Okay, well, I'm reading a translated philosophical work. It's called The Art of
Like
War.
biology.
It was written by a
I think
German.
I read scholar papers.
Yeah.
Historical.
Yeah.
Not like historical.
It was like yeah, it was like how to be like wage more. It was like a general
Storybooks.
Yeah, and I'm also reading
I read
novels.
For English.
Like for the sake of a blog post yesterday.
So here,
Is it Kashif?
I also read my journal.
Food, yeah.
Is that
Recipe?
what your
Lots of powerful I don't have the power.
It takes me a while to get to the.
Is it a genre?
That's the plan. Just checking on that. Yeah.
I think so.
What are
Science.
terms?
Yeah.
How many subtimes we have?
Oh, yeah.
Going.
What are
Going.
fiction?
All right.
That's
Anything else?
Poetry.
Poetry.
Poetry. Yeah, poetry.
Poetry.
Academic articles.
So this is great. Okay, great. How are you guys doing?
Yeah,
Social media.
With the residents.
which were we
It's
I don't think you can make a mistake today. This is just a brainstorm. Because we're gonna be learning over the course of time, and I'll tell all the other students that too. This is just a brainstorm for fun, and your homework will
Writing,
help
see?
you.
I hope you just
Get it
follow
set.
it. Writing.
So for example,
Yep, you don't have, if you just know what they
Oh,
are,
that's
and you can't name the genre, just
Okay.
give it a shot. Just give it a shot.
Yeah. Editorial.
How's everybody doing?
Very good.
good.
Can we stop now, or do we need a few more minutes?
We can
Good,
write
good,
a lot.
good, good.
Let's move on.
Okay.
I'm excited for it.
So what I wanted to say is the reason why I didn't give you much more than tell what you really like to do is that we're going to be looking at genres over the whole course of the semester. So you can't make a mistake. Anything you have is something you actually read or actually write. We'll bring that together, and when we discuss the homework at the end, I will give you something. That will be a list of all the kind of genres, and these aren't even all of them. This is a partial list. There are many, okay? But we'll do that at the end, and you're gonna get it on the back of the next activity, which I think will be kind of fun. Before we begin, does anyone want to mention some genres that came up for you that we didn't talk about already? How about me?
Academic journals.
Works, that is a definite genre that we have been working in and will continue to work in. Yes,
Post-it notes.
that works too, that there's a reason for it and there's an action that's gonna take people somewhere. What would the audience be?
My family members.
Yeah, yeah, by yourself
Do not
sometimes.
hit my jam.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, I want to switch over, and I'm wondering if you look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, what clues are up here? Could somebody tell me what the genre possibly could be? Natalia.
So fun, fairy tale. Fairy
Yeah.
tale.
Yeah. Does everyone call it a fairy tale? Okay. Because sometimes it's a folk tale, just depending on the culture or where you're from, but why do you recognize it? What are the keys?
Once upon a time.
Yes. Any other keys?
Because I
The moral.
always heard it.
I'm sorry?
I always heard it from the stories.
Right, right.
It's
It's
the
something that
starter.
you can count on quite often. Right, right. Anything else?
The moral of the story is
Absolutely.
there's a value at the end of the story.
Absolutely. And one of the things we're gonna learn more about with genre is that there's a purpose. And you just touched on that. There's usually a purpose. Now, rules are made to be broken, but we need to learn them before we break them, right? So there's usually a purpose, and in this one it is the moral, to teach, right? And then, as Colt said earlier, and I think a couple folks over here, we talked about vocabulary, which comes under voice and style. It's a word choice. We're gonna be looking into that. Definitely wouldn't use the same words in a fairy tale that you would do in that response paper for the academic. Right? And then the other thing again is audience. That's why I asked Natalia, who's a post-it note for? And it could be for many things, but she said her family and friends. So, hopefully this is the fun part. You're gonna pair up. Could you pass those out for me? You're gonna see these exact words on your paper, and that's to help you get started on the story. And I'm gonna give you 6 minutes, and you get to pick 3. You get to pick 3 cards. And these are idea starters. Your job as a pair is to think about what you've got, put them into order. Oh. There you go, my dear.
Thank you.
Please pick any, you put them in the order you want.
That's the cards up.
You're going to work together.
One more?
Yep, 3 each.
Oh, 3.
No, I'm sorry, 3 per pair. Yeah.
Oh, this is a well.
Yep,
Yeah.
and 3 per pair. And then I ask you, please don't start yet. I want to just give you, no, I take your pair. Oh, sorry.
How many per pair?
Yep, 3. That's it.
That's it?
3 per pair. So here are the directions.
Okay, directions.
Before you begin, please listen.
Okay.
You can decide together what the beginning, middle, and end pictures are. And then one person can say a line, the other person can write. One person can say them all, and the other person writes. You negotiate how you'd like to do it. And try and come up with a story and a moral that we can talk about later and maybe read to each other.
What's the one Okay, there's a little girl.
It's on the mouse. Yeah, and the moral of the story is you should. Oh, and
What is
the
this for
time
moral
to stay
story that gets told afterwards?
Why is this the end of the year?
Gold.
What's that? You like it? So what happened? Once upon a time, there was a bird.
It can be late.
And they have their own entire family history written on this.
And then there was an evil relative who bred a girl because he wanted to
Erase their history.
erase their history.
It was too shameful.
What a fantastic day. And every day, and every day he works with them. And every day they work with them. And every day they would walk at the walls. They had a very close to until one day,
And they'll pass all the dangerous point. Okay, and then
And he drive
we do not belong on the
she
forget about the dangerous.
I like
What
this
is
story.
it? I like it.
Repair.
I like that.
Repair.
And they want to erase their history, so
by playing.
for relative
Okay.
And then
records.
suddenly,
They started rocking. And ever since that day,
They show up.
Yes, it's that they,
explore.
they've been making music in their
It's not
it's not religious. I mean, it's not heaven.
I wanted to make her story somewhat dark.
oh,
Do you want to make it dark?
I hope you're having fun. It's just such a, who knows? Could be anything. How are you guys doing? We're gonna have about 4 more minutes if it was a real class. So,
Yeah, you have 30 seconds.
okay.
So,
Yeah, I think you'll be able to get it done in time.
That's not your age,
Make it dark. You want to make it dark? Go ahead.
golden three golden pyramids.
Yeah.
It doesn't. They went for a walk.
On the in the middle of the city. You are right. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
All the story. Okay.
No, actually, I think this is the story of how the ceremony was made.
Golden sand was dropping from the sea, from the sky, through a tube.
And the moral of the story is that there's another.
Yes, okay, then.
then she is thinking about
The story is they're made of
If
heaven.
you are nice and kind, all you need is some
How to get to
And then they get one time and every day until one day because of that service is such a babies.
And let's thank Ms. Peter for our class. It's
Yeah, thank you for sharing too.
If it was longer, it would be so much fun
I
to
know, we
hear
did
them
actually
and
have
look
to
at the clues.
Okay, please take out your cards. I mean, your
Thank you,
cards.
it's really good.
Are you teaching this?
I think it's one.